The hallway was full of lockers, laughter, and the smell of cafeteria pizza, until 3 officers stormed in. "That's him," shouted the deputy, pointing. "On the ground. Now." He didn't run. He didn't even blink. Just slowly raised his hands as every student turned to stare. No one asked for a name. No one showed a warrant. And nobody cared that at that exact moment, the real suspect was caught, 3 blocks away. He was already in handcuffs. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from. Dorian Mitchell had just sharpened his pencil when the door slammed open. It was a normal Tuesday in Willow Creek High School, just outside St. Louis. Third period algebra, rows of half-asleep students, a teacher scribbling quadratic equations on a whiteboard. Then came the boots. Loud, rushed, not from the hallway, but from inside. 3 uniformed officers, badges visible, weapons holstered but hands twitching. The teacher stepped back instinctively. "Officers? What is this?" Her voice cracked. They didn't answer. "Him. Back row. Hoodie. Stand up," barked the officer in front. All eyes turned. Dorian sat still, his notebook open, pencil mid-scratch. "What did I do?" he asked calmly. But calm didn't matter. "Hands where we can see them. Turn around." "Wait, he's not," the teacher began, but the officer silenced her with a look. Dorian stood slowly, lifting his hands. He didn't resist. He didn't ask questions. Because in Willow Creek, questions didn't help kids like him. One of the officers yanked his backpack off his shoulder, dumping its contents onto the floor. Books, a graphing calculator, a bag lunch, nothing else. Still, they pushed him against the wall. Cuffed him. Tight. Students gasped. Someone started recording. Someone else whispered. What did he do? Nobody had answers. What is this? He hasn't done anything. The teacher tried again. He matches a suspect description, came the cold reply. What description? He's been in my classroom all morning. The officer didn't answer. They pulled Dorian out, dragging him past wide eyes and silent mouths. Down the hallway, through the front office, past the receptionist who instinctively stood but said nothing, past the security guard who looked away. In the parking lot, the cuffs dug deeper. You got the wrong guy, Dorian said quietly. The cop behind him grunted. We'll see. In the squad car, the radio crackled. Another officer's voice. Suspect just taken into custody near Lincoln and 8th. Confirmed match. Dorian turned his head. The officer in the front seat stiffened, but said nothing. The car kept moving. They weren't taking him home. They weren't letting him go. They were taking him downtown. The squad car pulled into the precinct lot with a sudden jolt. Dorian didn't speak. The handcuffs were too tight, and his shoulders ached from the ride. One officer opened the door roughly. Out. Let's go. The moment he stepped inside the station, it hit him. The stairs. Officers at desks, sipping coffee, paused. A few glanced at him. Others looked away. No one asked questions. No one offered answers. They took him to the back. Not to booking. Not even to holding. A side room. Windowless. Cold. Sit down. Dorian sat. No rights were read. No phone call offered. Just silence and the low hum of a wall vent. After 20 minutes, a man walked in. Civilian clothes. Clean shoes. Thin tie. I'm Detective Harwood. Dorian didn't respond. The detective opened a manila folder and pulled out a blurry printed photo. This is you, isn't it? It was a still from a store camera. Low resolution. A boy in a hoodie. Face not visible. Height unclear. Skin tone vague. No, it's not, Dorian said evenly. You sure? I've been in school all morning. Check the attendance. Ask my teacher. Ask the front office. Detective Harwood didn't blink. What were you doing around 9:45 a.m.? Algebra. Witness says the suspect had a school-issued backpack. You have one. So does every student in my district. The detective studied Dorian's face. Calm. Too calm. You know what I think? I think you're lying. Dorian looked at him. You don't want the truth. You just want me to fit. The words hung in the air. Harwood leaned in. I can keep you here as long as I need. Not without charging me, Dorian replied. That's illegal. The detective smiled. You think that matters in here? Silence. Then the door opened. Another officer stepped in, whispered something. Harwood stiffened. What? Suspect in custody. Real one. Witness confirmed. Harwood didn't move. He stared at Dorian, his jaw clenched. Let him go, the officer said. Harwood nodded slowly, but said nothing. 10 minutes later, a different officer uncuffed Dorian in silence. No apology. No paperwork. No record. Just, You're free to go? Dorian stood. That's it. You can leave. He walked out alone, into the sunlight, his wrists marked, his chest tight. They hadn't said a word about the mistake, because in this building, it wasn't a mistake. It was routine. The next morning, Dorian walked through the school gates like a stranger. No one said a word, but everyone watched. Whispers followed him down the hallway. Eyes tracked his every step. Some students stepped aside. Others just stared. In homeroom, even the teacher looked uneasy. Dorian, glad to see you back. He nodded and took his seat. But the silence was loud. During second period, the school counselor called him in. Mrs. Patterson, a middle-aged woman with careful eyes and rehearsed empathy. She folded her hands. Dorian, there's concern about what happened yesterday. What concern? Some students feel unsafe. He blinked. Because I was falsely arrested? The nature of the arrest, the rumors. I didn't do anything. Mrs. Patterson shifted. I know, but perception matters. And administration thinks it's best if you take a few days. I'm being suspended? No. Just a cooling-off period. Optional, of course. Dorian stood. I'll stay in class. That's not optional. She opened her mouth to respond, then stopped. All right. But if anything happens, even a small issue, I have to report it. He walked out. At lunch, the stares got worse. A group of students pointed as he passed. One whispered, That's him. The kid who tried to rob a store. He stopped. Turned. I didn't. The boy shrugged. Then why'd they arrest you? Dorian stared at him for a moment, then walked away. By last period, his head throbbed. The pressure. The silence. The fake smiles from teachers. When the bell rang, he exited fast. But someone was waiting near the gate. A man in a suit. Mr. Mitchell? Dorian paused. Who's asking? I'm Charles Reed, district representative. May I speak to you? About what? About yesterday. And what happens next? Dorian didn't move. If you have something to say, say it. Reed smiled, tight and professional. The department's reviewing the incident. Internally, we take these matters seriously, but not publicly. There's no formal complaint, because no one told me how. Reed cleared his throat. Look, it's best for everyone if we avoid escalation. Mistakes were made, but we don't want to damage your future. Dorian raised an eyebrow. My future's fine. Yours is the one that should worry. He walked away. Reed didn't follow. On Friday morning, Dorian was called to the main office. Again, he walked in, trying to read the faces, but none looked friendly. The principal, Mr. Allerton, sat stiffly behind his desk. Beside him, Officer Callahan from school security. Please, sit down, Allerton said. Dorian stayed standing. Am I in trouble again? Allerton sighed. A report was submitted by a parent, alleging that you threatened another student. That's not true. Apparently, it happened near the gym after school. I haven't even been near the gym this week. Callahan leaned forward. You sure about that? You got cameras. Check them. Neither replied. Allerton cleared his throat. Regardless, the administration has decided it's in everyone's best interest if you remain home until the investigation concludes. That's a suspension. A precaution. Dorian's fist clenched. Based on a lie. Allerton stood. This is not a debate, Dorian. You've become a disruption. Students are uncomfortable. Teachers are distracted. Because I was wrongfully arrested? Because of how you're handling it. Callahan folded his arms. You could have let it go. Instead, you're walking around like you own the place. Dorian turned toward him. I'm walking around like I belong here. That's the difference. The officer's eyes narrowed. Allerton raised his hands. Enough. You'll be placed on administrative leave effective immediately. For how long? Until further notice. Dorian stared at both of them. Neither looked away. Then he turned and walked out. His mother was waiting in the car. She'd already gotten the call. They're saying you threatened someone? They're trying to build something. Piece by piece. She didn't answer. Just drove in silence. Back home, Dorian sat on the edge of his bed. Laptop open. No schoolwork today. No lectures to attend. But he had another assignment now. He began typing. How to file a formal complaint for wrongful arrest. School retaliation after false accusation. Discrimination in education systems. Every site led to another wall. Every hotline redirected to another voicemail. And then he found something. Not a solution. A record. A PDF buried on the city website. Settlements involving Willow Creek PD and misconduct cases 2019 to 2024. He opened it. There were names. Amounts. silence agreements. And at the bottom of one page, barely visible, Officer Harwood. Listed twice. It was past midnight when Dorian printed the file. 7 pages. Legal settlements. One officer's name, Harwood, appeared in 2 cases, both involving black teenagers. Both dismissed quietly. The next morning, he showed the pages to his mother. She scanned them silently. They paid off their parents. And sealed it. No discipline. No media. No consequences. She looked at him. What are you going to do? Not go away. She didn't stop him. That afternoon, Dorian put on a hoodie and walked into City Hall. Security didn't blink. The clerk at the front desk was busy with paperwork. He signed in under a fake name, Daniel M., and walked straight to the public records office. Inside, a young man in glasses looked up. Can I help you? Yeah. I need case records for Officer William Harwood. Any civil complaints or internal investigations. The clerk frowned. You a reporter? No. Then you'll need to submit a formal request. Processing takes 10 to 14 business days. But they're public. Still need a form. Dorian reached into his backpack, pulled out the PDF. This enough reason? The clerk's eyes widened. He didn't respond. Just stared. Dorian leaned closer. I know what he did. To me. To others. I'm not here for permission. I'm here to prove it. The clerk hesitated, then nodded slowly. Wait here. He returned 10 minutes later. A manila envelope. Unmarked. Don't say I gave this to you. Dorian opened it on the bus ride home. Inside, 3 complaints. 2 were sealed. The third was redacted but visible, a 2022 case dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Same pattern. A minor. No charge. But the same officer, same language, same silence. Back home, he scanned everything. Uploaded it. Labeled folders. Created backups. This time, he wasn't just defending himself. He was documenting a pattern. That night, someone knocked on the door. His mother opened it. Officer Callahan stood on the porch. Evening. I'd like a word with your son. She crossed her arms. About what? Just routine. Then send it through a lawyer. Ma'am. You people had your chance. Don't come here again. She closed the door. Locked it. Dorian stood behind her. It's starting, he said. She didn't ask what. She knew. Dorian didn't sleep that night. Instead, he reviewed every file. Compared language. Circled phrases. Subject became non-compliant. Officer feared for safety. Suspect matched description. He opened a blank document and started typing. Repeat language in Officer Harwood Incident Reports, 2020 to 2024. By morning, he had 5 pages. At noon, he emailed it. Not to the press. Not to a lawyer. But to someone else. A name no one at school even knew. Professor Sherry Nwosu, Legal Methods and Ethics, Howard University. Subject, requesting an academic consult. No backstory. Just documents. And the line. This officer has harmed at least 3 students. I was almost the 4th. Please advise on chain of action. Then he closed the laptop. At 3:10 p.m., his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Washington, D.C. He answered. Hello? A calm, focused voice. Who is this? Dorian Mitchell. Pause. Who taught you to write like that? I read a lot. Longer pause. What do you want, Mr. Mitchell? Not revenge. Just record. Procedure. Truth. And what do you think I can do? I think you'll know where this should go next. Silence. Then. Call me tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'll have names. But don't do anything stupid until then. Click. That night, he began assembling a timeline. His own incident. The other sealed cases. The officer's internal transfers. The district's payout history. School policies on discipline. Chain of command. Suppression patterns. At 1:27 a.m., he opened another file. This one, password protected. Titled, Record of Exposure, Willow Creek Patterns. Inside, tabs. Indexes. Witness locations. He had been building it for over a year. Not just for Harwood, but for what happened to his cousin. To the neighbor's son. To a classmate 2 grades below him. They'd always said, be quiet. Stay out of it. Dorian hadn't. He had been watching. Waiting. Recording. They just didn't know it yet. The next morning, Officer Harwood showed up at the school. Spoke to the principal behind closed doors. Dorian's phone vibrated. A classmate sent him a photo Harwood in the hallway. He texted back one word. Expected. Then opened a new folder. Retaliation, Phase 1. Monday morning. Dorian entered the school without a backpack. No books. Just a folder. Thin. Precise. In the main office, the receptionist blinked. "You're not supposed to be back yet. I have paperwork to submit," he said calmly. She hesitated. "I'll call the principal." "No need. This goes to records. It's personal." He slid the folder toward her. On the label, "Request for expungement and due process review. Filed under District Code 3.41b. She read it. Frowned. "Did someone help you write this?" "I did." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Took the file. Dorian left without another word. Across town, Professor Nwosu kept her promise. By 5:03 p.m., Dorian had an encrypted email in his inbox. 3 names. 1 law clinic. 1 journalist. 1 federal oversight contact. No commentary. Just, "If you're serious, here's your triangle." He was. The next day, he uploaded his folder to all 3. He included video timestamps from security footage, call logs, scanned copies of discipline records for black students over a 5-year span, a spreadsheet showing that the optional leaves disproportionately affected only one demographic. By Wednesday, the law clinic responded first. "We've reviewed your material. Our lead student attorney would like a virtual meeting." Dorian replied with 2 time slots, then opened a new file. Timeline of silence, school participation in bias events. By now, the district had noticed. 2 administrators emailed his mother, concerned about Dorian's emotional well-being. Would like to offer supportive counseling. Hoped to avoid unnecessary escalation. She didn't reply. Instead, she turned to Dorian. "They're scared." "Not yet," he answered. "But they're close." That night, someone left a note on their porch. No envelope. No signature. Just a printed message. "Careful who you talk to. Careful what you share." Dorian read it, folded it, filed it, then added a new tab to his timeline. Intimidation attempts, indirect, and labeled the folder. Phase 2, external pressure. On Thursday morning, the district superintendent received a certified letter. Inside, a formal complaint citing racial bias in disciplinary actions, a 17-page appendix of comparative data, a demand for an independent investigation, filed under the name Dorian E. Mitchell, self-represented. By noon, the superintendent called the principal. "Did you know he had access to district policy archives?" "No, sir." "Did you approve the suspensions?" "They were informal." Suggested. "Then why do they appear as disciplinary flags in the system?" Silence. "Fix it." Immediately. That same day, Officer Harwood was called into a departmental meeting. He arrived confident, left pale. Internal Affairs had questions. Why was no report filed about the arrest? Why was the name of the actual suspect edited post-incident? Why does your dashcam footage go dark between 9:38 and 9:49? Harwood didn't answer. Because he couldn't. Back in school, the students started whispering again. Only this time, it was different. "Yo, Mitchell's suing the district. He's got files on everybody. Even the cop who cuffed him." Dorian didn't confirm anything. He sat in the library, reading case law. When a counselor approached him, she spoke softly. "I heard you're working on something important." He looked up. "That depends who you ask." She lowered her voice. "Just be careful. You're making the right people nervous. That's how I know it's working." That night, he got a new email from the law clinic. Subject: Request for interview, Federal Civil Rights Monitor. No signature. No promises. Just instructions. Please be prepared with primary source documentation and timestamps. The review board takes no position yet. He read it twice, then opened his folder. He didn't celebrate, didn't smile. He only added a new tab. Phase 3, Federal Acknowledgement. And beneath it, one note to himself. Never stop documenting. They still think you're alone. Friday, 8 a.m. Dorian sat at his desk. No school, no calls, just silence. At 8:17, his inbox pinged. Subject: Acknowledgement of Civil Rights Violation Claim. From U.S. Department of Education, Office for Civil Rights. He opened it. Your submitted materials meet the threshold for preliminary inquiry. You will be notified if a full investigation is initiated. Please do not contact district employees during this period. He closed the laptop. Exhaled. At 9:42, a local district meeting began. Behind closed doors. At 10:15, Principal Allerton was placed on administrative leave. At 10:23, Officer Harwood's badge was suspended, pending IA review. By noon, a quiet memo was sent to school staff. All student disciplinary actions issued this semester are to be reevaluated. Staff are reminded that retaliation against students is strictly prohibited. No names, no explanations, but everyone understood. In the afternoon, Dorian walked past the school. He didn't go in. Inside, a few teachers looked up as he passed the window. One nodded, just once. That evening, the law clinic sent one more message. We believe your documentation can support an injunctive motion. We'd like to include you as primary consultant, if you agree. He did. Quietly. No interviews. No reporters. No social media. He simply sent back, "Yes, I'm ready." His mother read the response over his shoulder. "You're not scared?" He thought about it. "I was. For a long time." Pause. "Not anymore." At 10:30 p.m., a knock. A plain envelope. No return address. Inside, a copy of his own suspension letter, with a red stamp across the top. Vacated. Inappropriate process. Record expunged. He smiled. Just once. Not for the stamp. Not for the victory. But because they'd finally admitted, even silently, that they were wrong. He placed it in a file folder. The very first one he'd opened weeks ago. Then typed one final tab. Phase 4, structural damage. Underneath it, one line. Tomorrow, final step. Monday. Rain. Quiet. Dorian wore a black button-up. No hoodie. No message shirt. Just stillness. At 8 a.m., he walked into the school building. This time, no one stopped him. No one looked away. He walked straight to the front office. The receptionist stood. "Dorian, we weren't told." He handed her a letter. "This is my formal withdrawal." She took it, hands slightly shaking. "Are you transferring?" He shook his head. "I've completed my coursework independently. I'm graduating early." "That's not on record." "It is now. I filed the credits with the district. Verified by the academic board Friday afternoon. Check the timestamp." She opened her computer. Froze. Looked up. "You really did it." Dorian nodded. "You can forward the diploma to my address." He left without waiting. Outside, he walked past the flagpole, past the bike racks, past the parking spot where it had all started. One reporter stood across the street, microphone in hand. "Mr. Mitchell, can we ask?" No comment. He didn't stop. Back home, he printed one final document. Sealed the last folder. Label. Mitchell versus Willow Creek Unified School District. Resolved. He placed it beside the others. 7 folders. 41 documents. 129 annotated pages. No press. No settlement. No headlines. Just policy change. Internal audits. 2 resignations. 1 suspended officer. And a record. One that couldn't be erased. That evening, his mother handed him a letter. Howard University. Full academic scholarship. Pre-law program. Fall admission confirmed. He held the envelope. Didn't open it. He already knew. On his bedroom wall, a quote he'd written months earlier still hung. "They'll try to write your story for you. Keep the pen." He took it down, folded it, then typed 3 final words into his laptop. Case closed. Permanently. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that inspire action and hope.